All right. Let's get into this, Rob. Joe Burrow. Do we have sound of this, Rob G? Joe Burrow was talking a few days ago about, Cincinnati was in the Super Bowl last year. They are hoping they're in the playoffs this year at least. And, do you have to take advantage of these time opportunities because you never know when that window might close? And here's what he said.
The window's my whole career, and everybody that we have in that locker room, all the coaches we have, things are going to change year to year, but our window's always open.
Hello, is this on? Joe Burrow, I love you to death. I love you to death. But I think you're being a little, you think you're isolated and you're the only one playing football or the only one that wants to win or everything's going to go your way or there won't be major injuries. Hello, you became the first quarterback since who? Dan Marino, who went to the Super Bowl, Chris's second year. Remember that?
Yep.
Joe Burrow, I got something for you. They had Don Shula as the coach, one of the greatest coaches who ever coached in the National Football League.
It's Shula, I believe, has the most wins of any coach ever.
Yes.
Regular season wins. That
Chris,
Belichick's chasing him, but
Don Shula, a legend, was the coach.
Right.
With a legendary quarterback. They never got back. There have been a ton of great quarterbacks, and that doesn't mean that he can't aspire to it, Chris.
Right.
I'm not knocking him. The goal is to get to the Super Bowl. But I think it's a little naive to think because you made it there, you might not make it this year. You don't even know what happens. And pick up the phone and call Aaron Rodgers, who have all the records, great quarterback, all the other stuff. He went one, MVP, all that, never went back. We could go to other quarterbacks around. If it wasn't for Peyton Manning joining the Denver Broncos and their defense, Chris, he would have gone one time. I mean, I could go on and on. Tom Brady.
Well, he had been to a few more, but not one.
But one, what I'm saying, like winning. And Joe Burrow, of course, hadn't won. And then you could take a look at Tom Brady at one point in his career, same thing. I'm talking about winning. Like it's hard to win, hard to get to, hard to win. And I think he's a fantastic quarterback, but that team, Chris, there's going to come a time. They just got a practice facility. They are the ultimate mom and pop store ownership for the NFL. At some point, guess what? He's going to have to pay all those players, Chris, and all of them aren't going to be able to stick around.
They're young.
They're young. Yep. They haven't been paid yet. That's all I'm saying. I'm not mad at him for wanting to win a Super Bowl and get back to the Super Bowl and thinking it's going to happen every year. I just think it's way more difficult than people think.
Here's where I disagree with you. I think a lot of that is well said, and this might be semantics or us just looking at it differently, but I do think his window is essentially his whole career. I mean, when he gets older, maybe, like Rodgers has reached that age where the window might be closed. And I get what you're saying, Rob, about Marino and Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning, all these guys. And they only won, for a long time, Manning only had one. Marino never got back. Rodgers has not gotten back to the Super Bowl. But here's where I disagree with you. Rodgers' window has always been open. It was open all the way up until this season. Wouldn't you agree? Like every year, they're in the conversation. They're an elite team. Same with Peyton Manning. Marino, for the most part, I mean, they got down toward the end. Drew Brees had some bad years in the middle, but for the most part in New Orleans, the window was always open. I mean, with the great elite quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Rob, his window is going to be essentially his whole career. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to win it. And like I said, Rodgers never even got back, but his window was open. Doesn't mean you're going to crawl through it, but it's open.
Look at Look at the young quarterbacks in the AFC along with him. Everybody everybody can't win.
That doesn't mean the window's not open.
I'm just going to say, I'll be right here and think Joe Burrow, if they were to get to the Super Bowl again, that would be enormous. Your first 3 years. And what I'm just saying is it is harder. I mean, I'm not knocking him for saying I'm going to go to the Super Bowl, have a chance. I'm just saying there are a lot of other variables, Chris, that don't allow you to win. It doesn't mean that the Bengals won't be in the conversation.
Win it every year. I think he's saying my whole career, I believe that I can have my team in contention to win it.
And I
really think that's what he's saying.
And I say I don't think that that's possible.
Aaron Rodgers did it.
I don't think that that's
Peyton
possible.
Manning did it.
Those are two of they have, Chris, collectively, they have 9 NFL MVPs.
I get it.
Joe Burrow doesn't have that yet.
I don't know that he's going to be that guy.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Right now, he's looking like he's going to be that guy. The team may never win it, but he is looking like he's going to be that. He's an elite quarterback.
I didn't say he's not.
Right.
I didn't say he's not, but I don't.
And Peyton. Now he may never get to where they are historically. Maybe not. But they were elite quarterbacks during their prime, and during that time, the window. Wouldn't you say the window was always open for them?
Yes, but Chris, this is only his third year, second really full year. I'm not there yet. I'm not convinced. I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs this year, and I was impressed. They got off to a bad. No. I'm saying that, but I'm not sitting here thinking that with the AFC and these young gun quarterbacks that they have, that it's some sort of clear path, or that he's always with the Bengals.
It's not a clear path.
I get what I understand that, but I'm just saying I don't think this is me. That Joe Burrow and the Bengals are going to be in that conversation every year. I don't believe that. Now, I could be wrong this year.
Because they're cheap, the organization?
Because of their organization, because eventually they're going to have to pay these guys. They're not going to be able to hold on to everybody. And that's when things change for people. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think that's when, if that were to happen, that's when he makes demands. Now, one, he might be that type of guy. You know, he went there, Rob. People were saying, don't go there. They're trash. And he immediately turned them around. So he might just be that good. Patrick Mahomes lost Tyreek Hill, and it didn't matter. He's that good. And Rodgers was that good. Now, Rodgers is old now, so I'm not even going to hold this against this year necessarily against him for not doing it without Devontae. But I'm just saying, Rob, the ultra elite, and he looks like he'll be there. I know it's only really 2.5 years, right? But if he is indeed for the next decade, if it's Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, maybe Lamar here or there, maybe Jalen Hurts here or there, but if those three are who they look like right now, the window's always going to be open. Doesn't mean they'll go through it. But they're going to be in contention just like the Packers were always in contention and the Colts under Peyton Manning were always in contention. And that's just how most of the great ones, that's how it is, Rob. Most of them.
I'm just not here to dub him as an all-time great yet. I love what he's done so far. I love last year they were 10-6. This year
Rodgers won the Super Bowl at 10-6.
I got it, but they didn't win the Super Bowl last year. That's all I'm saying, and that's his second year. I'm not trying to down him. You know, I've been a big-time Joe Burrow guy. I was with you when everybody was saying he shouldn't go to Cincinnati. I love the idea of going there and making your own way. He's an Ohio guy. I love what he did, and I just am not ready to believe with the crop of the quarterbacks in the AFC, with the history of the Cincinnati Bengals and their ownership. I just told you, they just got a indoor practice facility. They've been practicing outside all these years because the owner's cheap and the Browns, they don't have money. So we'll see. It ain't like a lot of these other organizations, Chris, where they have corporate money and the owner's got billionaire. He's not.
Well,
he's one of the old guys.
And look, I mean, I don't know if they, if they start getting cheap, he seems like the type of guy that might be like, look, I'm not standing for this. We need to either start spending money or move me. But who knows if that will happen. But it's going to be interesting, Rob, to to see how this pans out. But I do think if he's indeed elite, then I think that window will be open. I don't know. It might be, like I said, semantics between the difference with us. But I don't think the window being open means you're in the Super Bowl every year or you win it every year. I think it means you're a perennial playoff team and a perennial good playoff team. Like you're not going there as a joke and, like Seattle right now or Tampa Bay, even though they got Brady. You have a legitimate shot when you get in the playoffs essentially every year. But